first thing I always like to say is like if we're starting out with a new agent in the commercial world, the best thing I can say to start with is for the first 30 or so days is I just want you to focus on building your bench for your buyer list. Don't worry about generating seller opportunities. Like that will come and you'll have plenty of time to do that. What I've found is I personally, years ago, I started with trying to generate seller first, and then it was hard for me to sell stuff because I didn't have anybody to sell it to, right?
That makes
And
sense.
then what
Yeah.
I realized is like as you know, with training agents, I found that people were having much faster success by building up a pipeline of buyers that they could immediately build trust and relate and be in relationship with people who are in your local market, say whether it's multifamily, retail, industrial, whatever it is. You find
Hmm.
people by literally just going on Reonomy, which I'll just quickly share my screen. Really simply put, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Hold on one second. There we go. So all you're going to do is that you go to, let's say you're in Tampa, right?
Yeah, Tampa, Sarasota, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just going to do the greater
that's
MSA
fine.
here.
That's right there.
Perfect. Okay. You just have like this greater MSA. You could circle any part you'd like. If you want to go bigger, larger, whatever you or bigger or smaller you choose. All you do here is that you will go to filters. We're going to go to owner. Obviously, include a phone number. We're going to go to sales, which is one of the most important pieces. Is that properties that have sold within the last 2 years. You're going to include what's your majority asset class you want to prospect?
Multifamily and
Great.
retail.
So let's do multifamily general. We're going to do properties, let's just say 5 to 50 units.
Hmm.
Okay. So you have 172 properties. You
Hmm.
hit apply, and this is going to be your starting list.
Okay.
Okay. You're going to call these 173 property owners because these are going to be the first people you're going to want to try to build a relationship with before you do anything else. Right.
Got it.
Because if you
Okay.
go to owners here as an example, these 331 owners, right, on this list, which just basically also means that there is people here that are within LLCs, right? Like there's going to be
Yep.
like dry planning LLC, people might be a
Yeah.
part of an LLC, multiple owners in an LLC. That's why you see 331 for 178 properties. Okay.
Right.
But these people all see like, oh, okay, got it. This guy Joel owns five properties within this search criteria, and he owns all multifamily. I mean, he hasn't bought something since 2021. Obviously, you're not going to work. You probably won't work with Bridge Property Management with a $4 billion fund, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
people on this list that you could easily work with. You can even go to owner and just do a person, hit apply, and then this list, I would just say call up the first 50 people on this list. Like these are the people you want to know. These are everybody. This is everybody in your market who's bought something recently, right? I
Yeah.
mean, all different price ranges too. So if you want, you can get even more specific because you can even like try to find people who bought something at like good price, pretty decent prices, right? Like ideally, we're
Right.
looking for people who bought something for like north of, let's just say, $1 million. So, anyways, you can kind of manipulate this as you need, but
Okay.
this is where I would start. So, any new market, if I was going to go into a new market, I would
Yeah.
immediately find my best buyers in that market. And I would build as much of a relationship as I can, go get some coffee with a few of the guys, especially if they're going to be like, look, if someone has bought 3 or 4 or 5 properties in the last year and they're constantly looking to grow, they have 15 properties and they're constantly like they're in growth mode, you need to meet
Yeah.
them, you need to shake a hand, and you need to go, what are you looking for so I can deliver it? But if someone owns, let's say, 60 properties, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're looking to buy something right now. They could be towards the tail end of their career. They could be 70
Yeah.
and chilling with several million a year in cash flow, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just keep in mind, like we are looking for growth mode players, people who own a lot of real estate and want to continue to buy a lot of real estate every year. It's not
Right.
about having thousands of buyers. It's about having a few good select ones that just who you know are going to close,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Because I
That
would
makes
rather have 10 guys who I know each buy 5 to 10 or 20 properties a year than 10,000 people on a list I don't know.
So when you do get a deal, it's right
Yeah,
away.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to these guys. That's it.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
simply put. Okay. So that's number one, right? So next 30 days, all I want you to focus is I'm building my bench. And
Yeah.
by the
That
way,
makes
let's just say it happens in 2 weeks and you got 10 great players. And you're like, Henry, I'm ready to go. I got to find some properties for these guys. Great. And it doesn't need to take you all 30 days. But the goal is saying,
Yeah.
like, I'm not prospecting sellers till I have a stacked bench.
No, that makes sense because I've been doing that. I have some deals, and it's like I don't have anybody for the deals, so it's
Yep.
like it's
So
kind of a
let's
waste.
pause because then the goal here is the following. Ideally, you want 5 to 15 people minimum of people or groups of people who are all looking for the same type of product.
Right.
Okay. One of the big mistakes is that like people have, let's say, 5 buyers. but they're all looking for something slightly different. You have a guy who wants 5 to 10 units, another guy who wants 50 to 100 units, another guy who wants 50 to 5 to 50 units, but in this different area. Like you have all these different types of people, so you only have one person for that one property you come across, and if they don't want it, you're like you're shit out of luck.
So be
Okay.
super specific on
Yeah,
that.
you want a few people looking for the same thing, so you can go to Bob, Sam, John, Steven, and you can hopefully get an offer or two from these people. Because it not every single, even if the deal is exactly what you think that they're looking for, you're still going to have some times where they're like, I'm not interested.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
So that's why you need to have somewhere minimally around 5 people who are looking for the same exact type of product. So if you're doing multifamily and retail as an example, I'd say 5 to 10 multifamily, 5 to 10 retail. Okay. And you do the search the same exact way. You just reverse look them up and you call everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And ideally, I would just tell you, be careful going back farther than the last 2 years, because if they really haven't bought something in the last 2 years where the market's been like the way it's been, they're probably not buying right now.
They're probably not buying. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you go to like 2021, you're like, oh, this guy bought 2 properties in 2021. I'm like, yeah, interest rates are 2%. Like everyone in the world should have bought. They're probably not buying now, right?
Right.
What I would tell you I would prefer is that I would expand the geographic location in which you're looking for. So I'd rather speak to somebody who bought in Tampa, who might buy in Sarasota, versus only looking at the Tampa market further back.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I got you.
So I'd say step one, right? Like if we're kind of backing up for a second, right? Like that's step one. Let's build our bench. Now that you've built the bench, what's happening is that now you're going to get back into prospecting mode. So what's going to happen is in roughly 30 or so days, there's no need to rush it. I'd prefer you to have really strong, good buyers before we can.
Yeah.
Once that has happened, what I recommend is that then you're going to start now pivoting where the morning part of your day, from let's just say, when can you get to the office and actually start prospecting? What time?
9 o'clock.
Okay, great. So 9 o'clock, you start prospecting for let's just say 3 hours, 9 to 12. 9 to 12, you're doing your prospecting. 12 to 1, you do some follow up. You're doing, you eat lunch while you're doing your follow up. You check your emails real quick because you shouldn't be doing anything crazy while you're making your prospecting calls. 1 o'clock hits. Now, all I would do from between 1 and 3 o'clock is just try to sell deals. Basically, your day is prospecting for new business for 3 hours, doing your follow up, and then the next 2 hours is all pitching deals, which is calling up those buyers and selling them these deals over the phone. Okay, because we don't just send emails and hope and pray someone makes an offer.
No, like send them the financials and then call them.
I would even say you call them first and say, hey, John, are you in front of a computer?
Okay.
And then we try to work the deal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
In real time. It's like I want to. It's like just like this, Austin. Imagine like let's say you're one of my buyers. I'll be like, Austin, hey man, or hey Austin, it's Henry at the EXP Commercial. How you doing? What's role play?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. So, like we last spoke a few weeks ago, I told you if I ever came across something that, within your criteria, 5 to 50 units in Tampa, I would give you a call. And I happen to have a deal. Are you in front of a computer?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Look up the property, 123 Main Street.
Okay.
Tell me when you have it up.
Yep, I got it.
Okay, great. Now, I just sent you an email. If you can open that as well. This has all the financials.
Okay.
So I want to walk you through it. Just tell me when you got the email.
Got it. Looking at it.
Okay, cool. So based on, and again, what I'm doing now is that now I'm going to start selling in this deal. So this is 25 units. It's all 2 bedrooms. I think it's a good price per door in the market. It's maybe a 6.5 cap now, but there's a lot of upside in the rents. The deal, it's a decent condition. Older property owners, they're going to sell it, whether it's to you or the next guy. So I'm just curious, based on the financials and the details, what's your first thoughts?
First thoughts are, do you have any photos of the inside units so I could see what the rental cost is up front?
Sure. I can get photos. Like, let's just say there's 2 examples. One, if I have the photos, they should have been in the email. Number 2, if I don't have photos, then I'll say listen, I could definitely ask for photos or even a tour. But what I want to do is like I'm going to get a list of everything that you need. But what I prefer to do is that we'll handle that at the end. Because my intention is that my goal when I'm speaking with a buyer, is I want to get a feel for a price range before we deal with all objections, right? So what'll happen is they're going to say I need photos. Okay, great, photos. Okay, well, I'd like to. Do they have an environmental inspection? I got to ask if they did that. Okay. Let's say they ask a bunch of stuff that, I don't have, but they have enough financials to hopefully look it over. I'm like, okay, great. And at the end, what you're going to say okay, based on everything that you see now that you have today, where do you feel like you'd be at price-wise?
Price in the general ballpark of the asking price, as long as it's around the 7 cap near the interest rates, I could make it work.
And okay, great. No, obviously you're giving me, you're an easy buyer. Now, like say some guy goes well, I need to see some photos. I don't know what the condition is. Like let's make some assumptions. Let's say it's average. Let's say that they do need some work, but they're not terrible. Let's say they're like average condition and they all need a little bit of sprucing up. Based on that, and let's say that it is a clean environmental, because look, if it had a dirty environmental, I'd never expect you to buy it anyways. But, I don't think that they have a previous inspection done. But let's just say that we make those assumptions. Where would you be at price-wise?
As is, I need to buy it at an 8 cap.
Got it. Okay, cool. But see, like my intention is I want an offer on that phone call.
I see. So you want to know where they're at immediately,
Correct.
right away.
Now, like,
Yeah.
look, of course we can schedule a tour. Of course we can get photos. Of course we can do
Yeah,
all this other
it's a
stuff.
waste of
But like,
time.
okay,
Yeah.
based on X assumptions,
Yeah.
right? Based on where
They're
we're at right now,
asking 180 a door. I'm at 120 a door.
I just need to know because, like, look,
Yeah.
what I want to hear, just like you even just gave as an example, if hypothetically I'm pitching him the deal at 200 and he says 120 a door, I'm like, dude, like, just to be honest with you, I don't see 120 a door in anything in this market. And if you're buying 120 a door, I'm probably not going to be able to provide that to you. It's just
Let me
like
know right
I'm
away.
not, like I'm not finding steals. Like I'm finding good
Yeah.
opportunities. But like
Yeah.
I don't have steals for you. So like
Yeah.
if you're only going to buy at 120 a door, I might not be the right person. No, no, no. Like oh well, I might I'm interested in paying more. I just like I need to get a good deal. Like look, getting a good deal and stealing a property. Like I just
Two
I'm
different
looking at
things.
all the recent sales. Nothing sold at less than 140 a door. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't mind going back at them a little bit, but I want to see how close we are. Because if people are within ranges, I'm okay with trying to build relationships. But if people are just like all of a sudden give me super low ball offers to try to steal stuff, like I've gotten, like I'm sure I always make this joke. Like, do you understand how many people I'm sure call up and say like I'm looking for 10 caps?
Everybody.
Everybody and their mother, right? Like, so it's just like, yeah, get in line, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
look, if you're another 10 cap buyer, like, I'm not the right person for you,
That's
right?
a waste of time. Yeah.
100%. So that's the purpose of that conversation. I want to
Yeah.
gauge where you're at right now.
Yeah. I'd love to get
Okay?
better at that because I dealt with that in New York City for too many years. Just
I understand. We all,
so
we
many
all, and
waste of time
look, those
buyers.
buyers are everywhere. That's why, like, on our very, like, and by the way, every time we pitch a deal, it's just like that.
Okay.
Okay. Every time we pitch a deal, I'm never just sending an email and going, what do you think?
No, that makes sense. You have to get
Okay.
on the phone, go through it, see where they're at, try to get a number. Okay.
Correct. And by the way, I just want, and if all I'll get is a range, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Like, oh, somewhere, probably around four. I pitched it at 6 million. He's like, we're probably gonna be around five. Around five. Okay, that's reasonable. But if he goes, I'm probably gonna be around three, what are you looking at?
So
You
when
know?
you're running through the numbers, right? You run through all the bullshit, the list that he needs, and you're
Yeah.
like, what do you ask? Like, where do you need to be at to make an offer on this? Like, where do you see this
No, it's
at
just like
for
based on
you?
everything that you've seen so far, at
Yeah.
what price do you feel comfortable at?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he's like, well, I don't have enough information. I need more information. Well, like, look, what do you need? You said that you needed photos or that you needed the environment, wanted to check if they had the environmental inspection or a 40-year certificate. Well, let's just make some assumptions. Let's say that they have the 40-year, right? Because most people have that done. And the
Yeah.
photos I'll obviously get, or we can schedule a tour. But based on the information today, what do you feel like you can feel comfortable at? Right.
Yeah.
But if he continues to say, I just don't have enough information, like what other information do you need? Right. Because
We
they're
can assume it's in this
sophisticated
condition.
buyers
Yeah.
are quick,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like some of them are going to be like, listen, I need a day to kind of dive into these numbers, but like, okay, well, give me an understanding, give me a ballpark. I'm not saying put something in
Ballpark.
writing right now, but give me
Yeah.
an understanding where you're at.
Most buyers at that price point know based on a net income.
Correct. I just
Yeah.
want a range. My ideal, I mean, perfect case scenario, we get a price and we can get something like, okay, great, I'll put that in writing today, and we can try to get an offer over to the seller today. Of course, perfect scenario. Doesn't always
Yeah.
happen, but at
No.
worst case scenario, I want a range, and we'll do that over and over again for that 2 hour window, 1 to 3. Right. And basically, then we'll have a team call. And then after that team call, all they're doing is going on appointments if necessary, or they're back to square one and going and making more calls. But like no appointments before 3 o'clock. We try to be very strict to our calendars. And this way we can be as effective as possible.
That makes whatever you tell me to do. I'm just gonna do it. So
Love it. Awesome.
that's it. Yeah.
So that's the process, by the way, right? Like,
Okay.
and what'll happen now is like now you kind of because like you do step one, step two is kind of integrating it into your daily activity, and then what'll
Yeah.
happen is eventually the way it's going to work is that majority of the people you're going to find long term is going to be when you're prospecting for sellers, flipping the script to a buyer lead when they say they're not interested in selling.
Right. Like I did that this morning. Whatever. I
Right.
got this lady. It's got to be a steal, whatever. So, but the flip that is easy on the script. I feel
Cool.
like.
But that's where a lot of our other buyers come from today, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
our team, like it comes from two places today, beyond our current database of buyers, right? Either from our prospecting or we go hyper targeting, go like, hey, this is a good opportunity that we just found. Our buyer pool doesn't want it because we've pitched it to them and they don't want it, but we do believe still it's a good opportunity. We'll reverse search just like that list again, and we'll pull a new list and start from square one again.
Right there when you have a deal. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you have the buyer list and you don't have deals, you just gotta find deals, prospect.
Yeah, then that's it. Then it's just
Basic
prospecting.
math. Yeah.
You only like in this industry, we only have so many bottlenecks. Either you don't have enough seller leads, right? Opportunities for people to buy, or you don't have the right buyer in order to make sense of the deal, right? Or the quality of the deal that you found isn't as good as you thought. That's it.
Right.
You
How
know?
much time are you spending underwriting a deal when you find a new seller lead?
Yeah. So one of the things that's going to happen, and what like just as an example, what we spent some time doing this past Thursday, yesterday, was I'm trying to spend a lot more time with everyone in the trainings where we do more back of the napkin type of stuff so we can get
Yeah,
faster
just
versus
quick.
the really in-depth heady stuff. To be honest, like I've realized through the coaching community, which has really helped me with training my own team and everything. Like that's why big another reason why I like doing it. But like a lot of like the really heady, deep underwriting stuff, as important as that is, right? Like which you should understand the terms and how to view a deal and know like what makes sense versus not.
Yeah,
Most of the time, we need to know the back of the napkin numbers very quickly.
that's what you're going
That's so
bringing to
I'm
a
spending a
battle.
lot more time over the last few weeks and the next few weeks. We're just going to be focused on back of the napkin numbers and how to
Hmm.
come up with conclusions as quickly as possible to kind of get a range. Because once we're in range, we can do deeper underwriting. But it's about
Yeah,
understanding are we within range or not.
right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So if we want to, like, for back to the napkin type of numbers, two things. Now, I'm oversimplifying the crap out of this for a second. But when
Yeah.
it comes to multifamily, one of the
Hmm.
biggest things you're going to be paying attention to, one is price per unit.
Yep.
Okay. So whenever you're looking at multifamily deals, I always am quickly just looking at a basis, like what's our price per unit here? Because if they're asking
Yeah.
250 a door in the market that's 200 a door, doesn't make any sense. If they're asking
Right.
150 a door, okay, we're gonna have a few, we can dive into future information. Okay.
Yep.
Next, though, beyond that is also rent to performa, right? I just want to get an understanding of based on cap rate today, current income, how much upside is there in this deal? Okay.
Right.
Because
Okay.
hypothetically, I'll buy, because sometimes what happens with brokers, one of the big mistakes is that they get obsessed over a bad cap rate. Keep in mind that, like, people will buy five caps if they can take it to a 12 cap,
Yeah, if there's upside,
if
yeah.
there's major
And
upside,
the
right?
cap side, the cap rate doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly. But the point, like, so being obsessive over cap rate, it doesn't always work, right?
That's
So
for
it's
like
more
a
important for us.
stabilized asset.
Exactly. And like, look, because that you're you're an investor and you own some multifamilies, right? It allows you to think a little bit differently. So it's like when I'm looking at multifamily, it's like, think about it. If you and I were partners, it's like, okay, if we're just going to be really greedy for a second, what do we want? Well, we want
Yeah.
a really good price per unit and ideally
Right.
the highest cap rate possible, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's it. Yeah.
that's it, right? So
Yeah.
ideally, when we're doing back in the napkin numbers, I'm just confirming those two things, right?
Mhm.
Or I guess technically three, right? So you're doing price per unit. You're then checking, the cap rate, of course. Ideally, the higher the better. And then last
Yeah.
but not least is the rent today versus performa. That I
Yeah.
can find very quickly because, like, obviously in your market, you should roughly know your price per unit. You should know the average cap rate, and you
Yeah.
should know the rough average rent per unit on a
Yeah.
per bedroom basis.
I've been here 3 months, so it's kind of, I'm pretty much, I got
I'm
the gist.
saying these are at least
Yeah.
the things that you should be
Now,
studying.
yeah, 100%.
Anytime
Yeah.
I go into a new market, of course, like as you continue to see them, but like, look, I'll say it like this. Even if it means, okay, I'm not saying you need to memorize it, but I am saying of like saying, hey, at least know where to find the information, right?
Yeah.
Knowing to
Quickly.
go to apartments.com for the rental numbers or Zillow, right? So you can cross-reference like, okay, got it. They said the two bedrooms are at 1,500.
It's easy
Two
enough to
bedrooms
find.
should be $1,800, $2,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just being able to decipher that fairly quickly, right?
Hmm.
And then for retail, similar but slightly different, right? One, it's price per square foot instead of price per unit, right? So we're double
Yeah.
checking the price per
Good.
square foot as quickly as possible. The first thing every single time when one of my team members gives me a new lead, I'm always checking the price per unit or price per square foot. Second, I'm going to say what's the income and try to understand what's our cap rate and like really understand like how close we are to market. And then last but not least, I'm also saying like, okay, based on today's rent roll, is there upside and how much upside is there? So, like as an example, one of my team members just showed us a shopping center. It was like 30 some odd thousand feet in Florida, and the price per square foot was roughly like 130, 135, right?
Okay.
And then I looked at the rent, the current rent on this building. By the way, they're only getting like 10-ish, maybe 11 or something a bucks a foot triple net. I'm
Okay.
like the market's nearly 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, they clearly are just incredibly under rented. So the price per square foot was actually, in theory, it sounded like a lot for this area, but then you're like, oh, wait a second, there's actually a lot of upside here.
It's upside. Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, it's cross-referencing all of that as fast as you can.
What
Right.
are
And
you
look, I
using
still had to look
for?
up on CoStar, by the way.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what are you looking for your metrics for the leasing for retail?
CoStar.
CoStar still? Okay.
Yeah. CoStar has the best leasing details.
Okay.
So, like, but again, I still had it quick, like when I was looking up the details quickly while I'm underwriting it, I'll back of the napkin. Everything I do is back of the napkin. Like,
Yeah.
I still had to go to CoStar and triple check the rents. I don't
Yeah.
know that off. That was some
What the
random
average
suburb in
is.
Florida. I have no idea. So, but again, I know where to go find it, and I can quickly do the numbers.
So making it less complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, look, if it passes back of the napkin, then we can move to next phases. But like, the problem is that like think about it. People spend way too much time
Right.
on stuff that just doesn't make any sense. When
Yeah.
deals don't pencil, I don't need to spend endless amounts of time with them. They could be on a longer term
It's like
campaign.
if you were looking at your own deal, how much time would you spend on it? You would look at the numbers real quick. Does it make sense or does it not? Is it close or is it not? So
Yeah, like look, and close is important to understand because it's like if someone wants obviously 15 million for a $7 million property, I mean like obviously like
not
there's
close.
no way we're selling it, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants 10 for an $8 million property, it's probably not it's probably worth my time to spend, to
Close.
try to dig up a couple deals.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, as long as we have workable people, we want workable clients,
Yeah.
like we want
Yeah.
workable
I
sellers, we
think
want
that's something
workable
I need to
buyers.
better understand when I'm qualifying people is get better at that,
Yeah.
who's
And that's
worth
why
it.
I'm saying understanding the back of the napkin and then understanding and asking questions. And this is why we do starter offers. We do the starter offer strategy because we have found that it
What
also
is
allows
that?
the starter offer process is essentially once you've generated a lead, and every time
Hmm.
we generate a lead, you need to make sure you get enough information in order to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
On value. That's the
Yeah.
purpose. Once you have enough information to make a decision on value and you have an idea of what it's worth now based on a quick back of the napkin numbers, we then make a slightly aggressive offer to the seller, right? And the
Yeah.
purpose of this is like, look, we know it's going to sell for 10, right? We know that the value today, we could sell it all day long for 10. We're going to offer
Yeah.
8.
See what happens. Yeah.
Okay. And it's not just to see what happens, but like the purpose of the offer is to get at least a counter. We want some inkling of movement. Because what we found is that just by submitting starter offers, we've gotten people down gotten people down millions of dollars, and all we did was just submit a number.
Yeah.
And like so we can see if there's movement in their mentality of pricing or not.
That
So
makes
like someone can tell you they want 20 million, but you put an offer in front of them for 12, and they're like, listen, like I need 15 and not a penny less.
15, and they already came
Right?
down 5 million.
They already
Yeah.
came down $5 million. We didn't do anything
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Right. But this
You
is
just
very
what you're
normal.
writing up the LOI as yourself or your company or
No, so
whatever.
what we do is only verbals. Every starter offer we give is verbal unless
Okay.
requested.
That makes sense. I just did
Okay.
that.
We initially had them all in writing,
Yeah.
which just took an ungodly amount of time.
Yeah,
And
it's too much. Yeah.
yeah, and plus, like also a lot of them didn't respond well and everything like that. We know they're not going to respond well to the starter offers. That's not the point. The point of a starter offer is for a counter. So we do that to just get a counter so that we can actually see if this is worth spending time on. Because if they want 20 and we offered them 12 because we think it's worth 13, 14, or 15 million, and they go,
Right.
I don't need to sell it. I own 64 other properties. Either you give me 20 million for it, which I know is overpaying for it, or I don't need to sell it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Why on planet Earth would I spend time with this person?
No, it's a waste.
Right.
Yeah.
But this person could then, what we know now is that he's not a seller, but he could be
A buyer.
exactly. Right. So, but this is information gathering.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to find the clearest path to a transaction with anyone.
Right. That makes
Okay.
sense.